The blue background you see is a container or wrapper div, and the red one is another div that lives inside the container. There are a couple of ways to center align a div. Now I will show you two different ways to achieve this goal. Here is my HTML and here is the container div, and here is the div that we want to center align both in vertical and horizontal direction. Here is my CSS. Currently it contains only background color and minimum height and width and a small padding. This is the container and this is the child div that lives inside the blue container. In this first method, we will use flexbox to center align the red container, a red div. The Justify Content Center will only align the content into the center in horizontal direction but not in vertical direction. Since we want to align both in vertical and horizontal direction, so we also have to assign align items in the center. Now, if we refresh the page, we will see that it aligned in vertical and horizontally center. Now, if you don't want to use a flex box, I will show you another way to center align the div. Here is the same HTML skeleton. This yellow background you see is a container, and the green one is another div that lives inside the yellow container. We will use positioning to center align both in vertical and horizontal direction. Let me show you the HTML first. Here is the HTML. This is the container and this is the div that we want to center align. And here is my CSS. It also contains the just background and a small space just like the past one. Here is the container. So we will use position absolute for this child div, and that is why we have to make position relative to its parent. And we want the position from top, 50% from top and 50% from left. Now if we refresh the page, we will see that it creates a huge space both from top and left side. So 50%, so we have to bring it back to 50% of its own width and height. Then it will be center aligned perfectly. And this is why we have to use transform. Translate also has few different properties, but we will only use X and Y. So we want to push it back to by 50% from of its own width and height. This is the x direction or its width, and we also want to push it back to the top according to its own height. Now, if we refresh, we will see that it perfectly centered. So this is how you can use the positioning to center align any div. I will also write the CSS and the HTML markup below this post.